Hey guys, today we're going to go over our annotations for Turtle Watchers by Linda Hogan. So let's look at what we have at the beginning. So we have to first, after reading our story, look for our message or a theme. So our message here is that all creatures are connected across time and space, even different species. Then we have our stanzas in this book, in this piece of poetry. So in this piece of poetry, we have two separate stanzas and 25 lines. A stanza is like a paragraph in poetry. The first stanza says, Old mother at water's edge used to bow down to them. The turtles coming in from the sea, their many eggs, their eyes streaming water like tears, and I'd see it all. Old mother as if in prayer. The turtles called back to where they were born, the hungry watchers standing at the edge of trees, hoping for food when darkness gathers. So, in this first stanza, we have baby sea turtles. They're trying to hurry to the sea to avoid predators. And hungry watchers is going to be what we consider the predators in this section. Then we have several different similes. We have first their eyes streaming water like tears. This is showing that Mother Earth or nature is sad or crying as these turtles are trying to make their way down and getting devoured. Then Old Mother as if in prayer. So seen as holy or worthy of reverence here. Then we're going to move on to our second one, our second stanza. And in our second stanza, we have years later, swimming in murky waters, a sea turtle swam beside me, both of us watching as if clasped together in a lineage of the same world. The sweep of the same current, even rising for a breath of air at the same time, still watching. My ancestors call them the keepers of doors and the shore of realm to other worlds. Both ways and water move the deep shift life back to birth and before, as if there is a path where beings truly meet, as if I'm rounding the human corners. So in here again we have a couple similes. The first one, both of us watching as if clasped together in the lineage of the same world. And so that's again a simile, and that means they're joined together by ancestry. Then we have the word ancestors that we need to define in the side margin. People from whom one is descended. Then we have a simile at the bottom, and it's as if there is a path where beings truly meet, as if I'm rounding the human corners. Now, remember, back in the second stanza, it says, my ancestors call them the keepers of doors. This refers back to Linda Hogan and the fact that she is Native American. So remember that the turtles were considered sacred creatures to her ancestors. The second piece of poetry that we had to read and annotate is Nature is What We See by Emily Dickinson. This one we have a little bit more to write because it is Emily Dickinson. So we have nature is what we see, the hill, the afternoon, squirrel, eclipse, the bumblebee. Nay, nature is heaven. So if we're trying to figure out a rhyme, we know that the first two, or the first one, C, rhymes with our third line, B, but then afternoon and heaven do not rhyme. Then we have nature is what we hear, the bobolink, the sea, thunder, the cricket, nay, nature is harmony. Again, we have here our rhyme scheme. We have here, we have C and harmony. So C and harmony rhyme with C and B, but they do not rhyme with here and cricket. Then we're moving on to our third stanza. Nature is what we know, but have no art to say. So important our wisdom is to her sincerity. So again, here we go. We have know, say, is, and sincerity. So in this one, you will notice that there's not like a definite rhyme scheme. However, we do have 3 different stanzas and 12 lines. Now, nature, this implies there is more to nature than what we see. And so the dash equals a dramatic pause. So anytime you see a dash, if you're reading this aloud, you're supposed to have a big dramatic pause. She uses unconventional capitalization, and with some people believe that is to highlight and intensify the meaning of the words. So if there's a word that's capitalized in the middle of a sentence and we normally would not capitalize it, people believe that Dickinson wrote this in order to have you highlight and intensify the meaning of that word, to show you it's super important. We have nature is more than just what we hear in our second stanza. So we know that to her it's harmony. And remember, name means the opposite. So we hear the birds, the sea, the thunder, the cricket. But although that might be boring to some people or kind of scary, especially things like thunder, in her eyes, nature is harmony. So then we have immaterial ideas with material substances. We also have nature is more than what we know, and our knowledge of wisdom is limited. So we have nature is what we know, but have no art to say. So important our wisdom is to her sincerity. Again, here she's saying that although we have a lot of knowledge about nature, our knowledge is not 100% limitless. So, in other words, the more that we know, the more Mother Nature is going to trick us or fool us. So, we have to have an understanding or deep knowledge of nature, which is what wisdom is, understanding or deep knowledge. And then we have nature is what we see, hear, and know. Her message to the reader is that we are not able to comprehend or describe nature adequately. So, and she portrays immaterial ideas with material substances, like harmony, sincerity, things like that. All right, so moving on to our third one, The Sparrow by Paul Laurence Dunbar. So for this one, we have the speaker is busy and ignores the sparrow. So that's what you need to know from the beginning of this piece of poetry. Our speaker is super, super busy. Again, we have 2 stanzas, and this time we have 16 lines. A little bird with plumage brown beside my window flutters down. A moment chirps its little strain, 10 taps upon my window pane, and chirps again and hops along to call my notice to its song. But I work on nor heed its lay, till I neglect it flies away. So here we have things like plumage, flutters, and strain, all words that you need to make sure you know and understand. So plumage is feathers, flutters is flies, and strain is a song for a bird. Then we have an A, B, B, C, C, D, D rhyme scheme. So every 2 lines rhyme, and that's what we would consider a couplet. Then we have a speaker ignores the bird. So in this whole entire first paragraph, our speaker or first stanza, our speaker is ignoring our bird. The bird's on the windowsill, it's hopping along, it's trying to get the speaker's attention, but he or she is busy and does not pay attention. And heed, the word, is to pay attention to. Our second stanza says, so birds of peace and hope and love come fluttering earthward from above, to settle on life's window sills and ease our load of earthly ills. But we in traffic's rush and din too deep engaged to let them in. With dedended heart and sense plod on, nor know our loss till they are gone. So here again we have couplets rhyming, so E, E, F, F, G, G, and H, H. So we do not realize how nature invokes love, joy, and peace until we no longer have it. So basically what the author is saying in our second stanza is once we lose nature, then we realize its importance. From there, we have to look at our message. We are often too busy to enjoy nature until it is too late. All right, guys and gals, I hope these annotations helped you. This is what you need to know for your test on the sparrow, nature is what we see, and turtle watchers.